Most people believe the most powerful weapon in the United States arsenal is its military, but that's not actually true. The real power isn't a missile, or an aircraft carrier, or even an army. It's something much quieter, something you use almost every single day without even thinking about it. It's called the petrodollar. For over 50 years, this invisible financial system has shaped the modern world. It influences the price of gasoline at your local station, the stability of your country's currency, and even the rise and fall of entire governments. But here's the interesting part. The system that helped the US dominate the global economy for half a century is starting to show cracks. Countries are beginning to challenge it, and the world could be entering a completely new economic era. So today we're going to look under the hood of the global economy. We'll explore how a 1974 deal between the United States and Saudi Arabia reshaped the financial system and why that system may now be facing its biggest test. To understand the petrodollar, we first need to understand oil. Oil is far more than just gasoline for cars. It's the lifeblood of modern civilization. It powers airplanes and cargo ships. It fuels factories and power plants. It's used to make plastics, chemicals, synthetic fabrics, and even the fertilizer that helps grow the food we eat. Almost everything in the modern economy, from your smartphone to the packaging it arrived in, depends on oil somewhere in the supply chain. And because of that, the entire world is constantly buying and selling oil. Massive producers like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and the United States supply the market. Massive consumers like China, India, Japan, and Europe depend on it. This creates the largest commodity market on Earth. Now imagine something interesting. What if every country that wanted to buy oil had to pay using the same currency? And what if that currency belonged to one specific country? That idea became the foundation of the petrodollar system. To see how this happened, we need to go back to the end of World War II. In 1944, world leaders created a system called Bretton Woods. Under the system, the US dollar was backed by gold, and many other currencies were tied to the dollar. In simple terms, the dollar became the center of the global financial system. But by the late 1960s, the US was spending heavily. So in 1971, President Richard Nixon made a dramatic decision. He ended the convertibility of dollars into gold. Overnight, the dollar stopped being backed by gold. Instead, it was backed mainly by trust in the US economy. In 1974, the United States reached a strategic agreement with Saudi Arabia, the world's most powerful oil exporter. The deal was simple, but incredibly powerful. Saudi Arabia would price all of its oil exports exclusively in US dollars. In exchange, the United States would provide military protection, security guarantees, and advanced weapon systems. Soon after, other members of OPEC adopted the same practice, and from that point forward, if a country wanted to buy oil, it needed US dollars first. This arrangement created something economists call petrodollar recycling. Think of it as a financial loop. Here's how it works. First, a country, let's say India, wants to buy oil, but oil is priced in dollars. So India must first exchange its own currency for US dollars. Then India uses those dollars to pay an oil exporter. Now the oil-producing country suddenly has billions of US dollars. Those dollars don't just sit idle. Oil exporters often reinvest them back into the United States. They buy US government bonds. This constant flow of money back into the US financial system strengthens the dollar and helps keep interest rates lower than they otherwise would be. It allows the United States to run large budget deficits without the same consequences. In many ways, it's like playing the global economic game on your home field. But systems that last decades eventually face challenges. A growing number of countries are exploring something called de-dollarization. The United States has used its control over the dollar-based financial system to impose economic sanctions. For some governments, that has become a powerful warning. If the dollar can be used as a political tool, then relying on it might carry risks. So alternatives are emerging. Russia has begun selling oil to China using Chinese yuan. Some energy deals between Russia and India are now settled in rupees. China has also launched oil futures contracts priced in yuan, sometimes called the petro-yuan. And perhaps most interestingly, even Saudi Arabia, the original partner, has discussed accepting other currencies for oil trade. Now, none of this means the dollar is about to disappear. It still dominates global finance because of its deep financial markets and global liquidity. But for the first time in decades, credible alternatives are starting to appear. The petrodollar system has quietly shaped the modern world since the 1970s. But global systems evolve, As new economic powers rise and geopolitical tensions shift, the structure that once seemed permanent may begin to change. The real question isn't whether the dollar will disappear overnight, it's how the global economy will function if the dollar is no longer the only dominant player. Because when the foundation of the financial system moves, everything above it moves too. Energy prices, inflation, global power. If you want to understand the forces shaping the future of the global economy, make sure to subscribe. Because in this channel, we don't just follow the headlines, we follow the money. I'll see you in the next video.